IT stuff. It's not more about technology. It's more about people, then process, and least comes the technology part. Okay, and digital transformation. What I have seen, I was heading digital transformation for the last 2 years in my organization. So it's a big cultural shift. It's like changing the thought process, changing the mindset of the people. So there is always like when you talk about digital transformation, I belong to a manufacturing organization. So when you talk about digital transformation, it's basically transformation actually at the shop floor level. So when you talk about shop floors, it's basically you need to deal with operators, you need to deal with plant heads, you need to deal with the maintenance, P, and engineering. So it's very difficult to change the mindset to a cultural shift. Okay, the way they were doing things in the past, and then when we talk about digital transformation, the whole process will change. Probably it will take time. It will take years to change the whole process. But then technology comes least. So there are multiple things what we have done as an organization, bringing up first of all the awareness. Why we want to do this? That's the most important thing. Why you want to do this? What is it is not what we are benefiting as an organization. We need to make understand the people what they are going to benefit from it. So that's most important. Making them understand how digital transformation is going to reshape. And there's always a no. People are always scared. When you talk about AI and digital transformation, they will never let you go inside. They say, no, probably it is going to lose my job, something like that. So the pitch has to be so strong. The pitch has to be so no convincing to the people so that they understand how this is going to change. And this is one part. And then if I talk from the management perspective, it has to be completely aligned with the your mission and vision. That's more important. And probably what I understand that it has to be driven from the top. It is if there is no thrust or push from the top, it can't be driven. This whole strategy can't be driven. And with AI and all those things, so you can't push probably at the IT level. It has to push from the top. So these are two things what I understand why digital transformation is more related with people rather than process and technologists. Thank you.
Thank you. You still second, but you would like to share your experiences?
Basically, yeah. I has already covered everything which I supposed to talk to. Talk to the
Maybe
yeah. I'll go into yeah. I'll definitely share my experience. So
stop me.
for me, digital transformation is when people come to you after a deployment of any IT tool or any installation in the organization. For me, it is there like if I go to the shop floor or if I pet people, if they ask, क्या सर इसमें इतना इम्प्रूवमेंट और कर सकते हैं? Changing the mindset of people.
Yeah.
Right? That I am doing this process. Can you just add these more features so that my life will be easy? I get more out of it. So from my side, from the IT side, this is the I would say the end of the any digital transformation where people comes to you and say that we have done it. This is our system, not any. They named it like SAP or EA or what, but they say that so it is our own system and we want some improvement in that system. That is the I would say the fruit of the end fruit of the any deployment. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Nikhil, would you like to control and maybe give us a total insight of one? What do you see as an outside and how can you go from the outside of a transformation as a punctuation?
And then what do you go someone can you tell us?
Hi everyone. Thank you for having me on this call. As a cultural shift, I think the biggest thing is the alignment shifting, and I'm sure most of my peers are there with this, is that there has to be an alignment between the business and the technology. That's one of the biggest things. And the biggest worry for CIOs in today's state has always been the acceptance of change in technology. And the acceptance while being vision. Right, what the people usually resist change. So first of all, if you include them in the process, I'm asking them as to what can be based. That is the biggest thing that
Considering the case.
Considering as a stakeholder, not as a proposition, and more of the product. That becomes the biggest hindrance, and everybody is the same sort of upskilling. Plus, you have to upskill the people on a regular basis. You have to have a CV or a center of excellence wherein you can make sure that you are able to teach people how exactly will this help them. And I think more than anything is the biggest issue becomes trying to convince the management on certain points as to why do I want to. Yes, I'm sure that you guys it probably tell me more about it. You guys should see it yourself. I think telling the management that yes, I'm not just a cost center, but going forward, this cost center will convert into a profit center fee. Just by the mere fact that you'll be able to save on costs by doing certain things and improve the technology over a period of time. But tell you guys that really helps. So on that is your cultural and matching skill, right? And upskilling thing, right? It's very, very. So apart from this, I think you have to lead by example. You have to start leading by example in the sense that we have to start using the software or using the application or tools by yourself and showing people how it is really changing. If you are able to do that on a regular basis, I think that really changes the shift. There's a shift, my mind shift in people's behavior and culture. That's the change.
Engagement.
It is never a one-stop shop. I mean, it's not a one-time cost or a one-time thing. You've done it and technology is there. In today's date, especially when technology is changing ever so fast. I mean, look at AI. OpenAI started by 2022, 2020. Within 1.5 to 2 years, we are seeing the whole world run towards station. There are people who use NVIDIA, the first company to hit $5 trillion as a stock value in today's day. When a lot of people are seeing a 5 year bugger or whatever. But it's still, look at the way it's changing. And I'm sure, I mean, it's not just the people who are sitting here to be on the stage, but every CIO here. I mean, how many of you guys are not really looking at switching towards AI? I'm sure about 95% of the people sitting here would be exploring AI in some or the other shape or form. So that change has to happen over a period of time, but in a continuous basis. It cannot happen just one time you've done something and start. That's it. Doesn't happen. So,
Mr. Sarkar, I'm in a knowledge health center.
Yep.
Yeah. So
what's your question?
the question is, how do you ensure that digital transformation is not just
Owned by the organization.
it's not just an IT initiative, but it's a
Absolutely. So, I mean, everything almost second time. So, I precise it whenever I visit board meeting this side, what are the digital transformations? Everybody speaks about we have to transform that, those, implement AI in the procurement cycle, वगैरह वगैरह. So, then I had a शायरी to tell them, वो मुझे साथ तो रखा है, मेरा दिल रखा है. दिल में कहाँ रखा है? So you have to own it. So AI, it is not only to say the department only say that we have to do AI, but they have to own the AI as well on the digital transformation as well. So therefore, our CIO's journey is twofold. One is implementing technology, which is much easier task for us because we are expertise on that with more than 20 years, somebody 15 years, 20 years, 25 years. We know how things are get done. Our partners are there, ecosystem supports us, you all are there. So even if one CIO is struggling, suddenly other CIOs helps us. So it's not about technology that make us life. It's rather within the organization there are a few people who are very reluctant to change. Those are the elements who actually makes our life miserable. So for them, I also have a shairi. डूबा हुआ हूँ जहर पे पर पी नहीं रहा डूबा हुआ हूँ जहर पे पर पी नहीं रहा मैं सीआईओ रोल को सह रहा हूँ पर जी नहीं
So, Benjamin, thank you for joining us despite a lot of difficulties. So my question to you is, what are beyond cost and productivity? What kind of human sector signals actually tell you that real transformation is taking place? I think both of you already touched upon it when that human-centered signal. So when you're on the shop floor, if somebody there's an idea that walks up to you and say, how can you make काम better ये तो सकता है, कुछ automate कर सकते हैं क्या आप ही? So that's the kind of culture which is there in the organization, which basically means you're doing something right. It basically means you're doing some tech deployments which is touching people's lives. But your cost and efficiency remains, I mean, for us, so that we can sell the idea upwards. How empathetically we are building the code basically helps us figure out the subjects down. And I think both of them are equally important. We cannot say that people have to align, but the cost is high and the cost has to be low, but people get kind of down. So I think a balance there, and I think that's the CIO or the CDO's job to kind of figure out that, when you're building something, if it's not aligned with how people want it to be, then no matter how good or fantastic your code is, it's just going to get shelved somewhere, nobody's going to use it. If people are not using it, I mean, it's as good as you might have wanted it. So that's very important. So when we specifically, if where I work, and if we try to figure out what we want to do or what we want to deploy, two things we look into. One is how it is aligning to the overall company's agenda. So there's a 2-year, 5-year plan. Where are we kind of baking in? So that helps us with upward alignment. And we engage directly with people at the shop floor or people whose lives would get impacted if they are deploying it. And we kind of try and make it their thought process into it. There is always a fear that if this thing comes in, my job would go. So how you're kind of taking care of that, and sometimes jobs will go. You can't change that. So it has to be like very transparent about it. You say what you say, or you can't say we just have planted this and we say that this is what can be done. But better to be transparent, better to align, work upwards.
Essentially.
Wonderful, thank you. So basically what you're saying is, real transformation is real. Initiative is So that brings me to the subject. If I get because I was thinking I would put all the people touch it and rotate it, or guys can get office. This one, in fine. Yeah, well, it's starting. So anyway, sorry. That's okay. So because of that, so now the thing is, basically, digital transformation is when you give tools to the enterprise. So it has to be a structured approach. Now you have given them tools. Now they can expand more. But now if you give them the stay had that absolutely chaos. So how do you balance the need for experimentation with a structure? So would you like to do?
Yes.
It's so working.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I feel I can.
Sorry, sir, really get me numbers.
No, I think so.
Yeah, let's get that. But and then there's a snake ways, but
So basically,
people not more
rather than questions to us, everybody should the approach like how do you give the learning the system for the people who has to basically be running the system going forward. So I'll give you one example wherein we did it in my last project that there were 1,000 plus users who whom to be trained on the SAP direction, and they have seen the SAP process first time. So what we did that we took the video of all the directions, we put the AI voiceover on top of it. We gave this 3 kind of system. The one system, but 3 buttons on that. One, you can just see the video with the voiceover. Second, you can do the hands-on on the system. And the third one is that you have to give the test and you get the certification out of it. So that way we have 10,000 people. If you see that if I will have a team meeting, getting 30 people in one room, I would definitely tell you that out of 30 people, 5 would be there who will actually be engaged in that training, and the rest 25 will be just doing emails or WhatsApp or the thing. But with this approach, we are able to 10,000 plus people in the organization with this approach. And believe me, on each of the modules, everybody has got the certificate. Then only we issue the SAP IP to them to work on. So the learning curve, which we talked about, was tough, but with this tool giving the training, decided.
I think I will just say what Rajesh was saying. So I will just give a classic example. Very recently, October was a cybersecurity month, and I think we took a target that we need to visit all the plants, only 16 plants in India, and outside India also 10 foreign plants. That we will give face-to-face training to people, and we realized, okay, in the past what happened? Now people won't come into the meetings and all that. But then this time we changed the approach. Okay. So two things what we did, and I think that was, and after that we do a simulation, and the results were very, very good. So we started with giving giveaways. Okay. So starting involving people to talk about their experience rather than running through the presentations and all that. Let's don't do these kind of things. Ask their, no, just couple of slides, ask their experiences, share their experiences. And then we have rapid fires, we have quiz, we have Mentimeter. So we change the approach, we change the thought process. Otherwise, what we used to do, you put the presentation, run through the presentation, they will sleep, okay, so we put the phones and all that. So engaging the people, engaging the whole audience, and that too the manufacturing folks is very difficult. They won't understand what we mean by cybersecurity and all that. But then the response, what I see, I personally visited almost 10, 15 plants. The response, I was really surprised to see all the response. And finally, when we have the simulation, results were good. So I think the approach, when you talk about people, the users, we have to change the approach. It's not that we always think, yeah, user SI, user SI. Stop. We need to embed it. We need to put ourselves in their feet. What they think. I have seen people, fortunately, maybe we come at 9 and leave at 6 and 7. I see people maybe 10 in the night, 11 in the night. They have so much of customer pressure on it. And then we still claim, no, they are not doing it. They don't use their tools. They don't use a process. They don't use SAP effectively and whatnot. But we need to put ourselves in their feet. Understand what they are expecting from it. That's more important. So that is what we're talking. That's a digital shift.
Yeah.
So we need to think in a disruptive thing.
Yeah.
As a manager, we need to change first ourselves, then think, okay, how we are going to change other people.
An excellent point that you made was about empathy. Now, empathy is one thing that is that we expect people to do a lot of things for us, but we're not ready to change ourselves for us, for them in all times. When we are empathetic towards other people and we have that compassion towards other people, saying that, I understand that this is a problem. This is how we can approach it together. That is one of the biggest cultural shifts that we have to see in the industry as a whole. You cannot just expect people to go ahead and start doing stuff with your way. And I completely agree with you. And second, most important thing there is be transparent. If you're transparent with people, I think that really makes a lot of difference. When you're transparent with them, when you're honest with them, when you're clear with them, this is what we're expecting. And aligning the management accordingly. And you have to have an approach where you think about it collectively rather than a hierarchical approach. When that management says something, it goes. Instead of that, if we decide together as to what is required and then take the plan forward by aligning everybody to the vision of the company as well as the employees there, that makes a lot of difference.
Thank you. So, Mr. Sarkar, what do you have to add to this?
They have covered all those points as far as the empathy is concerned, training is concerned, how to deal about that. I just told you what one added thing that we have, other than all these practices being followed, we have one added for the user department who does not carrying that, possesses that knowledge effectively from the digital transformation or IT perspective. That we select few of the change agents from those departments. So every department has somebody who has some inclination towards the digital the genre. I mean, it might be a young age guy. So we first focus, get that guy, identify that guy and focus to empower that guy for all the transactions that are allowed in that particular department or the shop floor. And thereafter, slowly, that person transforming his knowledge to others. From that, I have a shairi to हजार चाहने वालों से एक निभाने वाला जरूरी है.
हम ना चाहे तो
हम तो पहले चाहते हैं. Identify the scope first.
This is also sort of innovation. Someone heard Shari in round tables before?
Once more.
Actually, it's my practice because starting from my college days, in my Jadavpur University and in my IIM Calcutta days, I practice Shairi every presentation.
So that's different innovation. We're liking it. And Shire always looking for
Because I know that these people all are either senior than me, more experienced than me, and they know technology in and out. So it is ज्ञान बांटने वाली कोई बात नहीं है. 2 मिनट बाद आज जो बोल रहे थे ना वही देखेंगे वो. ऐसे भी लीडर रोड पे आगे नहीं चल रहा है.
So on that note, I wanted to ask the lady the question. Let me ask you that question so that I will pass it on again. What leadership capability do you think will be most patient in the next 5 to 6 years? Do you have a Shire for?
Yeah.
आपकी मतलब for your promptness, I would like to
So actually, I was writing Shairi yesterday during intermediary of the sections because after scanning of the QR code, arrangement of the stage table, so I was exactly do a Shairi. So 2 things in my focus as far as the transformation, one is data. You have to manage your organizational data. Is a huge data for every organization. So I'm writing for that without data. बिन धागे की सुई जैसी बन गई है जिंदगी. बिन धागे की सुई जैसी है बन गई है जिंदगी. सिलती तो कुछ भी नहीं, खाली चुपती है. So data is the first, and second is the change. So CIO has to always accept change. So disruption, as the sir said, after AI disruption with ChatGPT, though it started pretty early, but certainly after the GenAI adoption in ChatGPT, the disruption came into the mind of the customer, because that's my philosophy, that organization only starts changing once the behavior of the customer gets changed. If my customer is very happy with the not power steering, that old ambassador steering, organization will change for the power steering. Because if I'm very happy with running my car with old steering, old gear, nobody will allow to go and change. So change starts from the need of the customer or the evolution of the customer. Customer changes first, and then organization has to drive that change. And there are few innovators like Steve Jobs and all who change the market altogether. So they changes the customer segment, and then after that push come to the organization, we changes. So therefore, CIO, everybody has to have a very deep dive into the technological aspect. He has to learn. He has to spend at least 2 to 3 hours every day reading what's happening in the world, and then he has to accept change. Otherwise, he cannot survive. So on that, my last shairi for the day. If you are not doing so, then somebody will be remembered with the shairi. हम बहुत खास थे, ये उनके अनखास थे. क्या बात. अगली पास के हम बहुत खास थे, ये उनके अल्फाज थे.
What is the most critical quality that CIOs or leadership in general will need to learn in the next 5 to 6 years? The rapid change of technology. What do you think? I think technology aside, Sydney, but that's a bread and butter. When I'm saying technology aside, one is that 2 things that come to my mind. One is definitely agility, as I use this account, and agility to me much how quick you are to adapt. So when never change, because technology is changing at a pace which is unprecedented. It used to change so fast with the system. So you had the learning time, you had the schooling time, and then you would kind of right away. But now it's like quite rapid. So how agile you are in adopting even the change management of the practice within the organization, which would also mean not just yourself, but the overall employee base that you're managing. So are you, as a CIO, it's your responsibility as well, and not just HR's, to see whether your people are being reskilled or upskilled or not. So are you, as a technology, head of the company, taking that initiative and that ownership to say that, okay, while I work on the tech side and also work on the people side, and that make our employee force also capable of using what I'm. So that is the way of agility I think is important. The second is maybe design things first. Very important for all of us, and we are going ahead and designing so many systems, are rethinking the way which is actually not just आपको बोला गया है आप इसे execute करें. It's more about we thinking in a way which is kind of empathy obviously comes into the picture. When you're designing something, is this going to impact the mood of my user when my user is going to use it? How is it going to impact me? How is it going to impact their life? How is it going to impact their job fulfillment? So you're thinking on those lines. when you're designing something and you're thinking is what is it that you're making better? How are you making things more, and efficient? So yes, I think design thinking and agility is two things and come in very handy besides it. So is it just these qualities, or you think it's going to be survival of the business, the rapid pace of change, and how to dive in, be able to navigate that? Very quick responses, I think.
I just add one more thing to your observation. See, learning is very important, but the right fitment of the tool in the organization. Do you need it or any? With the same it's right. So, as in one of the session, the gentleman from Aditya Birla said that if they come to me and straight away I said that this is not required. Right. So, right fitment in the organization is also one of the thing which going forward, or we do those things, but yes, for next 5 years, the technology is changing, the AI has come, but what are the use cases which I can in my organization for the thing? It is not for the just the sake of the buzzword AI or Gen AI. Do I really need it? Or what are the use cases in my type of business or my type of industry? Those needs to be rethink and
Alvin, will you want to take it up?
And I think what is I just got to add on that. See, one thing is very important for CIOs. One of the days when CIOs actually need to talk about IT only. So we probably need to come out of our comfort zone. That's point, but good. And always challenge the status quo. Right? We can't IT, we know. We have been knowing IT for the last 20, 25, 30 years, 15 years. So we need to know more about business. So when I say business, how business is running, what we need to know the financials, we need to know what is the core of the manufacturing, right? So when you understand these fundamental things, IT comes at the last. So there's a lot of people, because I think as a CEO, you have built up a teams, you already have done that level of delegation, so they will run the IT for you. But then you need to plug in the gap between business and IT. When we say the enabler, we just say enabler, but you actually need to be that enabler. You need to understand what business is going through, what they need. So there's always a gap. What happens, I interact with a lot of business heads and CEOs. They always say, "यार आपको समझ नहीं आता, मेरे को चाहिए क्या? आप कुछ और बना के लेके आओ." So why is this gap? Because we don't have a connect. Ideally, if I'm in a manufacturing, I should spend 60% of the time on the shop floor. What each person is going through, what he actually needs. That's more important. I should not sit in the AC room and checking the emails and Teams and all that. That's fine. But then if we do that level of connect, that's more important. So that is coming out of my comfort zone. Because I would always think, yeah, maximum job. So that's always we need to challenge the status quo, what is going in day in, day out. So we have to come out of that. And third, what I understand is like your team has to be very strong. How you motivate your team, how you give a credit to your team. That's more important. So these three things I just wanted what she was saying.
Okay. So would you like to take the last word on this?
Yeah, I think they've covered most of the points, but where I can, if I can just sum it up in a few words, then I would say then instead of being in control, actually be a collaborator. That's one of the biggest things for any skill. One of the points that he mentioned was about understanding what is an assisting. Now, you do not just here. Look at any function, even an HR for that matter. If they try to find a talent for you for your team, if they go ahead and start finding people who are not suited to the way, it's just wasting your time. Similarly, for the CIO also, it's extremely important to understand how, again, collaboration. Going back to from control to collaboration. You're not trying to control them, you're trying to collaborate with them, understand the business needs, and finally give them what they really need to make it better. Second, that thing I think, which one point which we have not really thought about is about the sustainability of it. Since it's a continuous process and the amount of money we spend on it, the way the environment is also getting affected, we have to, like in generally, even for environment and business sustainability. That is also extremely important. That is not something that a lot of companies are thinking towards it, but I do not see a lot of execution on that side. The execution is not that great. That is one thing which is missing here is in a big switch. third in this part, I will be the last thing that I want to say is you have to have a lead without ambiguity. And that the biggest thing is you got to be clear in your own mind as to what exactly and how exactly do I take it forward. I think these are the three things that I want to add.
So very interesting ideas and insights have come from it. So basically, digital transformation is sustainable when there's a proud up acceptance of what digital transformation is about. And second is, I guess, it's not just adaptability; it's also you are a facilitator. So you have to be with what's going on in the ground, and you have to be a facilitator for the ground. So thank you everyone for your patience and your time.
And thank you, audience, too.
Yes.
And that's the side.